Home, it's said, is where the heart is. It's where the bees buzz and the gardens bloom. It's where the makers gather. And where there's something for everyone. Home is where we remember and where we celebrate. At home, the lights seem to shine a little brighter, and there are always warm cookies on the table. Home is in the valley.
What's unique about serving people is it's different every day. Been a funeral director now for 43 years. Able to serve the community on the school board for 8. I was privileged to be on the planning commission here for the city for 4, and then on the redevelopment, I believe, for 4 or 5 years. A lot of people want to know, why did you want to leave and be mayor? Misconception, there's a lot of headaches, there's a lot of work and everything, which there is. But when you want to serve people, it's just wearing a different hat. We have trees, we have beautiful hills. We're a hop, skip, and a holler to Brown County. Look where we're located between Bloomington and Indianapolis with 69 now. So we've got plans for housing. That's going to help our public and our private schools. It's going to help our merchants, and it's going to help Martinsville grow.
There's a lot of sidewalk in Martinsville. We have roughly about 110 miles of sidewalk. Our criteria for sidewalks, we do it based on safety, liability, and availability. The safety, obviously, when we first started, we did sidewalks going into and around the schools. Sidewalks, when they're raised up, they do afford a level of safety. So it's liability. We have these sidewalks that have been raised up by these beautiful old trees we have throughout this town, and tripping hazards are created. So it's safety, it's a liability, and then availability. We're also trying to get them into areas of town that have never had sidewalks. To keep the streets up to a standard that you want, you need to resurface 8 miles a year. We have been averaging over 8 miles a year. In fact, right now we have resurfaced, we're right at 60% of our streets have been resurfaced in the last 3.5 years. What we follow is what they call a PASER report. It's an assessment that's done by an engineering firm. They go out and look at every street and they rate them. And when it gets into the fair to not so good, those are the streets that get paved. We sit in this beautiful bowl, this valley, and it's absolutely gorgeous. We've got a nice river, we've got lakes, we've got it all. We've got location, we've got a highway. You can be downtown Indianapolis in 25 minutes. You can be in Bloomington in 17, 18 minutes. What's not to like? But again, we have to maintain our infrastructure to support that quality of life, and sidewalks and streets are very much part of it.
As a kid growing up here in Martinsville, it was fun to be on a bicycle and know where the sidewalks were, that you could get a really good ramp because that sidewalk's been broken for 20 years. Well, as an adult, it wasn't so funny because that sidewalk's been that way for my entire life at this point. So never my intention to be in local government politics, but that's just kind of the slow progression into that arena. Our main focus is to make sure that we are all complying with the rules, we're all living within the budget that's been approved. One thing that we've kind of specialized in recently is partnering grants with monies that we get. Let's try to get $2 or $3 on our dollar that we're spending, because we've all worked really hard for that dollar, so we want to try to multiply that if we can. Government financing can be very complicated, so we want to simplify it. No slant, no bias. Here's the information. That way we can have good discussions. Our hope for Martinsville is that we have a controlled growth in a right manner. We don't want to be the Carmels of the world. We just want to be Martinsville, but the best Martinsville we can possibly be.
When I was a little kid, I wanted to do three things in life. I wanted to be somebody that dealt with flowers, somebody that dealt with cooking, and a fireman. The neat thing about Martinsville Fire is the fact that you not only have to know firefighting, but you have to know rescue, you have to know EMS, you have to know when somebody just needs your help, or maybe you're just holding someone's hand. We need people to check their smoke detectors. Change the batteries, check to make sure that there's still a good smoke detector. Those are important. If you happen to take the battery out, put a new one in. That's really important. The second thing that's really important for us is that people have their address number on their home where we can see it. If it's rainy or dark, it's hard to see. We have lights on that are flashing and shining things off a house. It's really hard to see. And we're looking for a number on your home. If it's not there, we sometimes have to guess, or we pass it. The third thing that would really help us out is calling for help when it's truly an emergency. Oftentimes we can go to someone's house and there's 3 or 4 cars in the parking lot, capable, able people that could drive them to a med check, or maybe even drive them to their doctor, but they're tying up an ambulance. And what we hear from people is, well, if I call an ambulance, I can get in and be seen faster. That's not always the case. 33% of our medical calls were overlapping medical calls, meaning we had 2 at a time, possibly 3. We have 2 ambulances in the city of Martinsville that are stationed here. So once those 2 are committed, now we are bringing them from out of town, and then that protection then becomes a little weaker there. And so we don't mind coming on calls. That's what our job is. We just want people to really think through it to make sure that it's a really good, viable call they're making. So we're in the process of replacing some fire trucks, and I've been talked to by many people in town. Those trucks look brand new. Well, you're right, but they're 10, 13 years old. We wash them, we wax them, we keep them clean, we take care of our equipment, and that usually means that the tools, when needed, are ready to work and function properly. It's been an honor to be the fire chief of this city, and I try every day to do whatever I can to make Martinsville a better place.
A levee is a structure that's man-made, and it's to retain water. Right now, we have an existing levee which goes from the north of I-69 that requires rehabilitation. It was built in 1951, a long time ago, to different standards than we have today. Then the new levee will go from the 39 bridge out at 67 to the south to just past Hacker Drive, and that will be 8,800 feet long. And the river is rising. Whether or not you believe in climate change or not, the river is coming up. And that's understandable. Just logic tells you that. We put in more roads, more rooftops, everything else. Whether we're getting any more rain or not, it's questionable. But have we got more flow? Undoubtedly we do. So as the river levels have come up, the sizes of the floodplain have increased closer and closer to the city of Martinsville. As we build this new levee and rehab the old one, the rehab costs the city residents nothing. The new levee we construct to the south has a $3 million match associated with that, and that was a part of a bonding process that we did through the Redevelopment Commission. So it does not affect your tax rates at all as far as an individual city residence goes. We're going to benefit by it, but we're not having to really reach into your billfold.
My father-in-law, when I was very young, showed me 2 of his hunting dogs. He pointed at one and said, see that dog there? And I said, yes. And he said, that dog won't get out of the lantern light. He said, see that dog over there? And I said, yeah. He says, that dog will hunt all day and all night. You'll have to go find him to get him off the track. And he said, don't be like that dog that doesn't get out of the lantern light. I've never forgotten that, obviously. And at 68, I think I've accomplished that. The mission is to protect and serve. I think it was Mother Teresa that said, you know, the only life worth living is a life lived for others. We've got good officers here, good young officers that want to take the extra step, you know, step up a little bit, step up the department. And it's just like I told these officers here. I said, you know, when I was younger, I wanted to hang around people older than me because I wanted to know what they knew. Now that I'm older, I want to hang around the younger people because I want to know what you know. And I said, hopefully, you know, we can meet each other in the middle and learn from each other. And that's no different from the citizens of the town, as we can all learn from each other.
Our water bill arrives every month and we pay it. But what exactly are we paying for?
We've got 4 carbon filtration vessels here. Water goes in through the pipes in the top. It filters down through the carbon, comes out through the bottom, and then goes out to the system. And before it goes out to the system, it picks up its treatment. It picks up chlorine, it picks up fluoride, and picks up phosphate. We test the water daily. We're constantly looking at what we put into it, what those levels are, but we're also looking at the quality of it as we pull it out of the ground. We constantly monitor for VOCs. We have compliance testing schedules that we have to adhere to. All those tests are public record and can be found on IDEM's website. If you know our system ID number, IN5255009. That will get you any kind of information you want to look up at the state level about our water system.
So you get your bill, and it is due upon receipt, and then penalties are applied approximately 30 days later. Approximately 2 weeks after that is a disconnect date. And you can pay by phone, you can pay online, you can pay in our office. We have a drop box on the north side of the building. You can also, if you register your account, you can set up for auto pay. Everybody has a hydrant surcharge on their utility invoice, and it is for the maintenance and repair of hydrant meters. Now, just because you don't have a hydrant meter in your yard doesn't mean you're not going to receive that charge, because it is for, you know, you have them every so many feet. I'm not sure exactly what that is, but they're available if there's a fire. So you want them. They're important.
Most people set their trash out on Monday through Friday, whatever day is their day, and they don't give another thought to the trash. Well, there's a lot involved in that. We've got to pick it up. We've got 2 garbage trucks. That requires 6 people, and that's just to get it from point A to point B. And it eventually ends up at our transfer station. We actually have a compactor where they smush it together, and they load up trailers, 53-foot trailers, that are then hauled to landfills. In Mooresville, the residents up there are paying $22.75. Bargersville is close to $29 a month. As you get closer and closer to Indianapolis, you're getting in the mid-40s every month. So right now we have a real bargain.
Everybody pays a stormwater fee on their water bill. The biggest problem we have is specifically in the fall, the leaves accumulating over that, plugging it up, so the effectiveness of the system is often compromised by the leaves and clutter on top of it. There's a concerted effort from federal government, state government, various agencies to make our rivers cleaner. The stormwater system is part of that overall process of just sending clean water to the river.
This is where the whole process of this plant begins. We have 3 lines coming into this building where they're starting to clean up the trash and the grit. After it leaves there, it goes into one of these 2 aeration tanks. This is where the water from the aeration tanks come and the solids actually settle out into the bottom of this tank. The water from here actually exits and goes to our final step, which is the UV building. The UV bulbs, they just sterilize it. You could probably drink it, but I wouldn't. But it's definitely cleaner than what's already in the river right now is what we put back in. It makes you feel like you're actually accomplishing something for not only the city, but for the state and for the environment.
Our water bill isn't really a water bill, it's a utility bill. Utilities that help my family, community, and environment to flourish.